Justice League Incarnate. This is Josh Williamson writing with Dennis Culver as well, actually, and Andre Bresson and Jesus Marino on the art. Final issue.
As someone who's not been reading this, the reactions that I have seen online, and again, I don't know if this is representative or just the ones I've happened to have caught, have not been super hot on this. Even people who were kind of enjoying the book in general.
It's definitely a prequel to the Next Crisis.
I've heard it's kind of the consensus seemed to be, well, this was kind of a mess by the end.
It's a bit of a mess, especially when it rushes things like now Orion's the leader of Apocalypse and stuff like that. Stuff just kind of feels really quick and whatever.
There were so many balls in the air that a couple of them got dropped, but the ones that were still juggled are fine.
Like, you know, I really like the 2-page layout early on where Dr. Multiverse and Avery kind of like snap the Justice League Incarnate out of the trance or whatever, right? So, and you get this kind of roll call of all these characters being put back into themselves.
And I like how the Thunderer realizes, you know, being basically the Thor / Superman of this world, and he is still a god at the level of other, and that he can bring the ultimate storm down and save the day.
Yeah, so they basically stop this thing from destroying the universe by blowing up this planet, this Earth on Earth 7. Is it Earth 7?
Yeah, it's Earth 7. Which I also find hilarious, being that this was the Marvel equivalent, right?
Yeah, they blew up the Marvel universe. They
were forced to sacrifice it to the darkness.
That's pretty funny. So effectively, two big things happen outside of the opening stuff and like Orion becoming the ruler of Apocalypse. Is that Darkseid follows the Empty Hand into the portal into the Great Darkness, and he's like, "I'm Darkseid. I will never be controlled. I answer to no one." So on. And he's in just complete darkness, like it's a completely black page, and there's just this text talking to him, this ominous voice kind of like speaking from the darkness, and it's basically suggesting that the Empty Hand is the right hand of this force in the Great Darkness, but Darkseid, as much as he may or may not know it, is actually the left hand, and
he's the fist.
He's the fist, And Darkseid's like, no, that can't be. I'm Darkseid. I work for no one. And the whole idea is that he's been conditioned in this darkness to sort of like, basically, this is your place. You're part of the body, right? Because the last page is like, you know, remember when we talked about Dark Crisis, or maybe it was just like 75, whoever it was, that had the cover and it has all the villains on the one side. We basically see us like a silhouette, a tease of all these villains, including Darkseid in the last page, and saying to be continued in Justice League 75. And it's like, okay, this is setting up the villains, the team that is now part of this body that is the Great Darkness that's coming for the heroes. And Justice League Incarnate, I thought it was a bit weird and made them feel kind of small and weak. That it gets to the end of the story and like, shit, we better go back to Earth Zero and get the Justice League because we can't deal with this shit. We need them.
I mean, just so the fact though that it's been such a mess and they had to retreat into the bleed, and as they can see, the bleed is also being affected by the darkness. You know, it feels like the ultimate Hail Mary is they have to go to the Prime Earth.
Obviously.
I don't mean Earth Prime, but the main crux Earth. Because that's where everything's going to come from.
Earth Zero is the one that we're that's what it's called now. But the other main thing that happens is that they do try and quickly rescue Barry by what they think they're going into the portal to the Great Darkness as well, but they actually end up in like Earth Flash 1. Which is like a created prison to hold Barry Allen. And I did like that the art was very Silver Age. I thought it was nice to see Barry looking like that. But he's not really thinking like himself. He's sort of like entranced in this world and doesn't like recognize them, and or recognizes some of them but sort of misunderstands who they are. But he's super smiley and happy, like he's been mind controlled or like he's been conditioned or whatever.
It's a prison of his own design, right? Like, this is everything that he's wanted. It's this family. It's the Flash family getting together, and even a young Wallace is there.
Yeah.
You know?
And Pariah shows up, and we know he's somewhat involved in this because that was teased in those big one-shots or whatever they were that came out a while ago. So it says that he's working with the Great Darkness, and that's kind of neat, and I like that Dr. Multiverse, like, when she looks at Pariah, is like, oh shit, like, I'm getting the same feeling from him that I got from the Empty Hand or whatever. Like, I'm getting, like, he's outside the multiverse. He is something else. He's scary, we have to run. And they do run. So Barry's still trapped in this place. and the others all just retreat to the Blade. And that's the main things you have to take away from this, is that they try to save Barry. He's trapped in this kind of like dedicated universe for himself, and Darkseid is kind of like assimilated effectively into the body of the Great Darkness as part of that group. And that's, and that part I like the tease of the villains at the end. I liked all the stuff with Darkseid being like kind of spoken to and being broken down until he became part of this body of people. I thought, okay, that's kind of neat. I like this idea of setting up the villains for this big event.
It's almost like Darkseid had come to the anti-life.
Yeah. But yeah, the stuff like with them, like I like some of the art, but some of the stuff with them snapping the others out of it, and the stuff with Orion now becoming the leader of Apocalypse. Like a lot of that just felt really shoehorned in and messy at the start. And there's like every issue of this has had lots of like scenes where there's like 8 people having a conversation and saying, what do we do now? And things are hopeless, so we have to all decide what we're doing. And usually as much as I like the 2-page layout where Dr. Multiverse and Avery do snap out like the Justice League Incarnate, who are all possessed, and sort of like vibrate them back into the right like multiverse or universe, it still just kind of felt like
it's very clunky.
It's one of those things where it just pulls out an explanation and says, if Avery, if you run fast enough, I can vibrate them into the right multiverse. Use them, and I'm like, okay, I'll take your word for it. This is just it's the same. It's the same shit. I'm not
sure what Dr. Multiverse's powers are.
Well, it's the same shit from the back half of his Flash run. It's the same sort of like. There's just a lot of like. Just here's reasons that will explain why.
Contrivances.
Yeah, like just made up science nonsense out of his ass kind of thing.
And also, it's a bit clunky where they're like, Dino Cop, and they give his real name. You are half man, half dinosaur from Earth, whatever. And it's all very silly. It was very Power Ranger-y.
Yeah, but Dino Cop is like so amazing as an idea that I'm okay. Anytime they can sort of say it like that, I'll take it.
No, I know, but then they do everybody, And it came off very cheesy. But I want to talk about this last page and all of these villains in the darkness. Like, this is a heavy hitter, like, team.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about what the team was back when that cover was revealed, but
maybe I wasn't here for that because this was a surprise to me.
Oh no, we talked about this cover then, and we're all on the cover. So
okay, so I must have missed that episode.
Yeah,
because I don't remember talking about that. But
yeah, we got Eclipso, we got Doomsday, Necron, Upside Down Man.
Who's the one with the mohawk?
Is that
because it looks like an OMAC, but it also could be the Sparrow. But there's not a third eye.
There's no third eye. It's not the Sparrow. I thought that was maybe Ares. No?
Okay.
That was an Ares helmet. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then the empty hands at the top, that's who that is.
Yeah, and that's like a very big, and then Pariah as well. And seems like these are all the biggest villains for each, of the Justice League. But yeah, I have still no idea what this Dark Crisis is actually going to be. I know that the Justice League is quote unquote dying at their hands. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, no, I like this last page quite a bit, and it's kind of good it wasn't spoiled by that cover.
I like the tease into Justice League 75. I thought was solid enough, but the issue itself and kind of the arc as a whole is kind of messy. And
no, this and Infinite Frontier kind of have the same problem.
Yeah,
is that they're forcing to set up a lot of stuff without being their own thing.
Well, and they're overstuffed. There's maybe too many characters. I think there's this desire in comics to include everyone when it's these big events and have like a big team and all that, but it is a bit too much. And while I enjoyed a couple of the beats with some of the characters, like honestly, like Captain Carrot didn't need to be in this. Like he didn't really add it and wasn't or never used as an essential part.
No, he's just there for comic relief.
Half the characters that were possessed could probably be taken out with it. Like the ones you need are Dr. Multiverse, Avery, President Superman,
Dr.
Batman when he was here. Yeah, you could cut like half the characters and it would probably be better for it. And it's not because I don't like the characters, it's just because it's just overstuffed. It's just the way it is. There's only so much room, but hey. Yeah. And the art's, fine. Like, like I like the Silver Age looking pages I kind of liked in the Flash Earth.
It's been consistent across there. Like
it's very house style, right? It's this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like across all the issues, it's not great, it's not bad. It's you're gonna get an issue of Justice League Incarnate from there, but it's never gonna be the art that stands out. Except for that Silver Agey Barry stuff that stood out against the rest of it. But it is curious that Williamson, who spent all that time writing Barry, walls him off in this area. So you would assume that maybe he might be the key in bringing the Justice League back when it's all said and done. Because he's not there in the Justice League right now, right?
No.
I mean, none of us know. We're not reading Justice League, so. But I just feel that's almost a tell that he spent all that time with Barry.
I feel like he probably is still in the Justice League right now, but he probably like all of this arc probably takes place between Justice League 74 and 75.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that would be my guess, but I mean I could be wrong. So yeah, what are you rating Justice League Incarnate issue 5?
I'm gonna give this a 7.
7. Yeah, I'll probably go with like a 6, I guess. Bit messy. There's some things I like in it. I'm excited for the event, but yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that because the event is the big main event that he's been building to, that it actually doesn't feel as sloppy as some of these lead-ins have been. And I've had a decent time here or there reading them, but if it doesn't like become a bit more focused and a bit more like, oh, this is Williamson really proving himself, he's going to become like a very like B tier event writer to me.
Yeah. I mean, his first one for Rebirth was the Justice League versus Suicide Squad. That was kind of a,
and that was definitely a B tier event.
Yeah. So that's how he started. So I mean. Well, we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I'm crisis fatigued and event fatigued at this point.
I'm a little bit Williamson fatigued as well, if I'm honest.
Yeah.